Hello, can I ask you something very personal? Have you ever wondered why the people you once loved turned into the very enemies who tried to break you? Why those who praised you yesterday now can't stand to see you rise? No, this isn't just life being cruel. This is spiritual initiation. A sacred calling disguised as betrayal. A divine school where pain is the professor. Listen to me carefully. This is not your destruction. This is your refinement. And if you've been seeing the number 1666, you must understand this. You are not cursed. You are being chosen. Yes, 666 is misunderstood. The world told you it's evil. But the universe, the divine, they use this number as a signal of alignment, a reminder that you're being forged in fire, because chosen ones don't get a smooth life. They get a sacred test. They betrayed you for a reason, because your light exposed their shadows, because your faith shook their comfort, because your destiny was louder than their limitations. You were not rejected because you were weak. You were rejected because you're divinely protected. Let that sink in. God didn't let them hurt you to destroy you. He allowed it to teach you. He saw what you couldn't, the fake smiles, the hidden jealousy, the silent sabotage. But instead of removing them immediately, he let you feel the sting, so you'd finally open your spiritual eyes. And now, here, you are, still standing, still breathing. Even after the knives in your back, the silence in your darkest hour, the abandonment when you needed love the most. And guess what? That pain, that moment you broke down and cried alone, that was not weakness. That was your initiation. The moment you stopped depending on the world and started depending on God. So now, every time you see 666, remember, you're not under spiritual attack. You're in spiritual training. Your enemies weren't sent to defeat you. They were permitted to awaken you. They are the sandpaper to your soul. Harsh, rough, but they reveal your shine. The betrayal wasn't the end. It was the beginning of your ascension. Don't curse the people who left. Bless them. Because without their betrayal, you wouldn't have stepped into your divine power. The tears you cried, they watered your growth. The silence you endured, it became your sacred space. The loss you faced, it led you to your real identity. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out and stand alone if you have to, because God doesn't call crowds. He calls individuals. He chooses souls, and you, chosen one. You're walking the road only the brave can walk, the path only the awakened can endure. You were never broken. You were being built. So now, wipe your tears, straighten your crown, because the ones who tried to bury you didn't realize you were a seed, and this is your spiritual bloom. So, let me ask you something. Who told you that 666 is evil? Who made you believe that when you saw this number, you should be afraid, hide, or run? Because whoever told you that doesn't understand divine language. Listen closely. God doesn't speak in fear. The universe doesn't whisper in shame. and your angels don't deliver messages to terrify you. So what if I told you that every time you see 6666, it is not a sign of danger? It's a wake-up call, a divine invitation, a sacred whisper. Rebalance your spirit, return to your purpose, realign with your Creator. Because 666 is not the mark of a beast, it is the mark of your becoming. You see, Chosen One, 6666 appears during a spiritual correction. It shows up when you've strayed too far into fear, when you've been absorbing too much noise, when your heart is drifting from its divine center, not as punishment, but as redirection. It says you're too focused on the external. Come back to your soul. Stop giving energy to your enemies, return it to your Creator. You've been letting the attacks distract you. You've been watching who betrayed you more than who created you, and that's where the test lies. Because if the enemy can steal your attention, he doesn't need to steal your soul. You'll give it away by forgetting who you are. But 666 pulls you back. It gently grabs your soul and says, you are not what they did to you. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are powerful, protected, chosen. Think of this number as spiritual alignment protocol. When you start focusing too much on money, fame, revenge, validation, 66666 shows up, not to shame you, but to save you. It appears like a divine mirror and says, pause, breathe, return to God. Because chosen ones are not allowed to live like everyone else. You're called to higher things. So the moment you lose sight of your path, the universe sends correction. Is that correction? And if you're seeing it now, that means you're loved, you're guided, you're still redeemable. Don't fear 6666. Fear what happens if you ignore it. Because when the divine gives you signs, it means your destiny is still alive. You still have time to return. You still have grace waiting. And if your enemies have made you bitter, if your betrayals have made you hard, if your journey has made you question God, let this number be your sign. You're not lost. You're being led back. So drop the resentment. Lay down the ego, forget the revenge, and remember the mission. The test you're in is not about what was done to you. It's about how you respond to it. And if you respond with faith, with surrender, with spiritual clarity, then this 666 moment becomes your greatest awakening. Because every chosen one must pass through the fire, but only the awakened rise from it refined. You're still here, then you're strong, stronger than you think, because chosen one. If you're still breathing after what tried to break you, then that pain wasn't your end. It was your initiation. The betrayal, the loneliness, the rejection, all of it was part of the refining process. Let me explain something deep to your soul. Your enemies weren't just trying to destroy you. They were activating you. You've been crying about the pain. But God has been smiling about your growth, because He knew that without that heartbreak, you wouldn't have found your calling. Without that loss, you wouldn't have turned to the light. Without those fake friends, you wouldn't have learned spiritual discernment. That's what 6666 came to. Show you not evil, not fear, but fire, and fire, chosen one, doesn't just burn, it purifies. You don't become powerful by avoiding pain. You become powerful by walking through it and not losing your soul in the process. That's why you were tested. That's why they left you. That's why you were isolated. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. You were being stretched, broken, shattered, so God could reassemble you with purpose in every piece. And here's what most people miss. The deeper the pain, the higher the calling. That means if your enemies were brutal, your destiny is massive. If your loneliness was crushing, your light is explosive. If your tests have been non-stop, then heaven is preparing a table with your name on it. But here's where it gets real. 66 is your spiritual checkpoint. It shows up when the tests have begun, but you're about to unlock a new level of clarity. It whispers, will you turn bitter or better? Will you feed your fear or your faith? Will you run from the test or rise through it? Because the fire is here. But it won't consume you. It will forge you. The chosen are never made in comfort. They are born through crushing. So, if you're asking why me, why did they betray me? Why does it feel like everything is against me? Listen closely. It's because everything about you is chosen, and you're too powerful to stay average. Too divine to stay hidden, too gifted to stay silent. The enemy tried to delay your destiny, but he didn't know that God turns pain into purpose. You're not just surviving the pain, you're being reshaped by it. You're being awakened by it. You're being elevated because of it. And 666 is heaven's reminder. You're still in the process, but you're almost there. So don't give up. Don't lose your softness. Don't abandon your spirit. Don't trade your crown for comfort. Your pain was real, yes, but your power is greater. Chosen one, you've asked, why are they always against me? Why do they gossip, lie, betray, and smile like nothing happened? But here's a divine truth most souls will never understand. Your enemies are not your punishment. They're your mirrors, showing you the exact strengths you haven't fully owned yet. Let that sink in. They hated your light because it revealed their shadows. They mocked your growth because they feared their stagnation. They betrayed your love because they couldn't match your purity. They didn't destroy your character, they revealed it. And every time they came against you, they unknowingly became your teachers. They taught you what loyalty really means. They showed you the power of silence. They trained you in spiritual discernment, the ability to see souls clearly. And what does 666 have to do with this? Everything. Because the angel number 666 is heaven's coded message that you're being pushed into inner balance. Because divine mastery requires emotional control. You're being called to respond, not react, to observe, not absorb, to elevate, not retaliate. The people who hurt you most, they weren't random. They were assignments, spiritual sparring partners, to awaken the beast inside you, the fearless you, the clear-minded you, the emotionally sovereign you. That's what the testing was all about. Not punishment, but preparation. Chosen One, think about it. Every enemy that walked away only made more room for clarity. Every betrayal became a redirection. Every insult sharpened your intuition. You began to sense the lies without evidence, feel the bad energy without words, and protect your peace like it's sacred territory, because it is. They underestimated you because they couldn't define you, but God didn't send you to be understood by the world. He sent you to transform it. And before a transformer is released, they must be tested. That's why 666 shows up. Not to scare you, but to remind you that you're walking through the fire, with angels all around you. You're being tempered. You're being refined. You're being awakened. Your enemies didn't stop you. They just helped sharpen the warrior within, so now you rise differently. You speak selectively. You love deeply, but protect fiercely, because now you've learned. The devil sends people too, but so does God, and both are allowed, because both teach. So take this truth with you. Your enemies were never in control. Your haters were never your downfall. Your heartbreak was never the end. It was a test, a sacred initiation, and every time you stayed silent, chose peace, held onto your spirit, you passed it. You're not just the wounded. You're the anointed. Not just the hurt one, but the healer. Not just the one who was attacked, but the one who is now armed. So now I ask you, Chosen One, can you feel it? That quiet strength growing inside you? That still voice whispering, you were never weak, you were just being refined. Your enemies didn't break you. They built the version of you that no longer fears rejection, betrayal, or isolation. Because now, you know who you are. You are the lesson they were never ready for. You are the storm they tried to silence. You are the divine warrior who walks with truth, not approval. If you've ever faced betrayal, if the 666 angel number has appeared to you in moments of pain or confusion, this message was for you. Now, I want to hear your voice, the voice of a chosen one. Drop a comment below and say, they thought I was weak, but I was chosen. Let the world know you're still standing. Let the enemy know the test only made you stronger. And if this message stirred your soul, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more divine guidance. Your destiny is unfolding. Stay grounded, stay awakened, and never forget, you were never alone. Your rise has only just begun.